Hello, everybody, and welcome back into Upstate Medical University from Syracuse, New York. It is the Syracuse Crunch and the Toronto Marlies taking on each other for the first time this season. Crunch go in their alternate orange tonight. The Marlies go in home blues on the road. A little bit of a change up, both teams in dark uniforms, and an early penalty coming here to the Toronto Marlies. So the Syracuse Crunch just 47 seconds in. We'll get a power play as Nylander heads off for tripping. Dennis Hildeby getting the start in between the pipes for the Marlies here this afternoon. He'll look to be solid and keep Toronto on a hot track after a big 2-1 win against Rochester in Rochester last game as he makes an early save on that slap shot. Here's a giveaway. It's kept in. Stevens, Myers. Here's Morella, stopped by Hildeby. Down low, Morella looks to the front from the corner, fed it in front. Stevens, that's kicked out. It's kept in, and another save by Hildeby. Bending off the boards and back down into the Syracuse zone. 4 shots early. Here's Myers. Singing it off the boards, gave that away to Johnstone. Short-handed, Marlies have it. Here's Mark Johnstone from behind in front. And Pare got the shot. It was easily kicked out. Dumont. Here comes Gonsalves, 2-on-1. Mermis trying to get back. There it is. Stopped by Hildeby. Stevens down low, left in front. Another save by Hildeby. 6 shots on the power play. Gonsalves kept in. Myers shoots. Another save. Make that 7. And the power play over. Marlies kill it off as they dump it back into the Syracuse zone. Nylander out of the box. He has to be careful. He already got charged once in this game and picked up Quinlan trying to get it. Now here's Morella. Sent back down. Morella has to be careful in behind the net. Fed it out front. It's blocked by the Marlies. Shot of Villeneuve. He'll send that for Marshall Rafai. Rafai stepping in. Rafai shooting it. And that one just missed. He fed that off the side of the goal. Marlies look. Pass off for Logan Shaw. Shooting it. That's fanned on. Goes to the corner. Drops to the point for some help. No one there. Toronto chasing it back in their own zone. Rafai to Villeneuve. Up for Jacob Quillen. He'll send in. Has to be careful. It's picked up by the Crunch. Here's Myers. Now Stevens up the right side, off for Element. He'll shoot it. Blocked in front of Hildeby. Villeneuve in the corner with it. And he took his man, and that's going to be a penalty. Hooking on the play as the Marlies could not get it out of their end. The Syracuse Crunch will go their second power play. They had 7 shots on their first. And Dennis Hildeby shut the door for Toronto. So here's the face-off to the right side of the Marley net. Draw 1 picked up by the Crunch. Letary trying to block that lane. Here's Robert. Today moves in, shoots, blocked. Letary tries to clear, not out. Forte is stopped by Hildeby. First time this year the Crunch bring out their orange alternate uniforms. And they're going to try to beat Toronto on them here this afternoon. Here's Day. 1 shot so far on this Syracuse power play. Nothing like the last one so far. Here comes Robert down the right side, stepping in, shooting it, stopped by Hildeby. The rebound bounced back to him in the paint. Chadwick sends it around the boards. Rafai, it's kept in on another giveaway. Element stopped. Rebound, that was stopped. Marlies need to get it out. Behind the net, back out front. Here's another look, and it missed the net wide. Back down it goes. Letary to pick it up. Vinny Letary after the puck has to be careful, and he is going to get caught. Yep, you can see he just got in on the hands trying to play that puck, and the Syracuse Crunch once again are going back to the power play. Chadwick gave that away, has to be careful with it. Carlisle, Day, stopped by Hildeby, touched up, and the Crunch will go their 3rd power play this first period. They have dominated the first so far as Vinny Letary heads off for hooking. Face off to the right side of the Marley net. It's been all Crunch in this one so far. 12 shots and just power plays. Here's Gonsalves, he stopped. Rebound in the paint, Mermis clears. Sent off the boards and back out. Myers grabbed that and it's picked up by the Crunch on a bounce. Gonsalves moves in, shoots, he's stopped by Hildeby. Big save by Dennis Hildeby behind the net. Looking back is Myers. Myers to the net, shooting, that's blocked by Benning. Kept in again by the Crunch on a giveaway. Dumont, he's stopped by Hildeby. In the paint, they whack away. Mermis is there, and he'll clear. Up ahead, it finds Mark Johnstone. He's run into Myers. 40 seconds, he's in behind Morella. Stopped by Hildeby. Way down in front, another save. He Fought that into the corner. Crunch pressing. Stevens. Consalvas again. They can't get it out. Now Benning will try. Still doesn't clear. Here's Myers. Down low. Another shot stopped and another. And Hildeby is going to cover on that for Toronto. A very active first period for Dennis Hildeby. He has been stellar. Face off here to the left side of the Marley net. Draw one back, Crunch have it. Stevens moves in, shoots. He fired that wide. Crunch pressing, Gonzalez, Myers, Morella shoots, blocked again. Dumont, that's blocked. It goes to the corner side of the Marlies, send it down the ice. And that will indeed be icing. 3:46 to go here in the scoreless first period from Syracuse. But the Crunch have been all over the Marlies. It's the goaltending keeping the Marlies in it so far. Here's the draw to the right side of the Marley net. One back, Myers, center. Stevens, and shoots! Stopped by Hildeby. Shot clears just out to center. Under 3 to go in the first. Here comes Morella again. Moves in and fires! He set that wide. Has it again, it's Gonsalves. Dumont stopped. Picked up again, another penalty going to Toronto. Pass in front, and Hildeby has that. And he covers yet again. Interference against Jacob Quillen. It'll be the 4th power play of the first for the Syracuse Crunch. Toronto Marlies have been hemmed in their zone this entire period, and it's been Dennis Hildeby who's putting on a clinic right now. Marlies 3 for 3 on the kill. The power play has been deadly this year for the Crunch, and so far it's looked that way. 20 shots on 3 power plays. Torber. Here's Letary, gave it away to Element. And we're coming down to the last minute of play here in the first. Element centers. There's a shot. It's fought off by Hildeby. Villeneuve sends it around the boards. That does get out. Picked up by Myers. Sent in for Element. Element brings it in with Robert to the net. Shooting it. Stopped. Rebound. Side of the net. There's a mad scramble. It comes free. Crunch have it. Caught in the net. What a save by Hildeby! Oh my goodness! The Marlies were caught and stuck with Hildeby in the net, and he still managed to get over and make the stop after untangling himself. Here they come again. One last shot. That's blocked, and we're through 20 minutes tonight here in Syracuse. It's the Dennis Hildeby show here tonight. Wow. Making his first start of the season, and he has been lights out for the Toronto Marlies here tonight. Shots a goal in that first period were 27-2. A new high for a one-period shot total. And the hits are 7-1 Syracuse. The face-offs 4-3. They're 0 for 3 on the power play. Toronto hasn't had one. Still on the kill to start the second. Welcome into period 2 here tonight from Upstate Medical University Arena from Syracuse. Crunch still on the power play for 31 seconds. Stevens to Gonsalves, moves in. Here's Dumont, centers, Morella stopped, and Hildeby has that. Save number 28 already on the day. Crunch are shaking their heads in disbelief. The shot count is almost 30-2 right now. Face off one back, here's Myers, fires, make that 29. And the Marlies clear. That'll do it for the power play. 5 shots on that last one. Here's Myers. Looking ahead. Here's Morella up for Dumont. In and over the Toronto line. Benning has to defend on it. The shot stopped by Hildeby. Plays that down. 30 shots in the game now for Syracuse. Just 2 for Toronto. Nylander to Benning. Here comes Benning. Might have a man with him. Benning looks, waits, centers it over. And Cedric Pare couldn't settle it down. Here's Nylander with it. To Pare. Nylander kicking it around Letary. Trying to keep that in on Myers. He did. Here's Letary in the corner. Letary spinning off the forecheck. Here's Nylander. Fed it in front. Gave that away to Stevens. And now another penalty going to Toronto as Nylander took a man down in the Syracuse zone. So Nylander heads off. Syracuse back to the power play. They're 0 for 4 on the afternoon. It has been all Crunch, but it's also been all Dennis Hildeby. 30 saves in the game up to this point. Here's the draw, one back, picked up by the Crunch. Carlisle, Day, moving in for the shot, couldn't get one. The Marlies take it away, and Shaw sends it back in. Around the boards it goes, picked up by Day. Here's Day for Syracuse. Sent ahead, that finds Robert. Here they come again. Robert, Chadwick trying to get back. Robert fires. Stopped by Hildeby. Lays it down, and the Marlies trying to clear it. Bounced in front of the net. Trouble for Toronto. Another save made by Hildeby. And Villeneuve can't get it out. Another stop by Hildeby. Diving across. Picked up by the Crunch. Forche. Here's another shot. He made the save on that. And Chadwick is there for Toronto, and he clears. My goodness, what an afternoon for Dennis Hildeby. Carwell. Here comes Element down the left side. Time running out on the power play. Another save right at the tail end. Forche. Here's Day. That deflects. Marlies finally get control. Villeneuve to Chadwick. Chadwick steps by. Might have a man with him. It's Nylander. Trying to feed it in front. That was given away. Here's Nylander now. Waits. Shoots. Blocked. Paré looks. He'll set her out front. Nylander taking his man down in the blue paint. Here comes Forche, and here come the Crunch. Lettieri back to defend on it. The shot stopped. And the Marlies pick it up. We're halfway. No score from Syracuse. Benning. Right back into the Syracuse zone again. Picked up here. Lettieri. And is that going to be another penalty? Yes, it will be. The Marlies will go to the box for the 6th time in the game. Vinny Lettieri for slashing. This is unreal. I don't think I've seen a game like this before where everything is going one team's way, but they haven't found the back of the net. That's the most bizarre thing about this. Dennis Hildeby has been unreal here today. Stevens centers. Here's Myers. Stopped by Hildeby. And Benning clears for Toronto. Picked up by the Crunch. Marlies do not have a shot this period. Here's Dumont. Easton Cowan in the Toronto lineup here tonight for the first time this year. Morella spins, centers, Gonsalves. What a save by Hildeby again. Down low on the turnover, and he made that one too. In behind the net, back out front. Here's Stevens. That one rocketed wide and back down into the Syracuse zone. Alnefeld picks that up for Syracuse. Cowan on the challenge. Myers. Here's Dumont, left side. Marlies take it back. Murmas fed ahead for Easton Cowan. Here goes Cowan, holding on to the puck, killing time here. Gave that away to Rafai. Torberg gave that to Dumont, and now a penalty going to Syracuse. So with 8 seconds left on their 6th power play of the night, the Marlies will head to their first. It'll be interference against Morella. Face-off coming. Left side of the Syracuse net. Toronto does not have a shot this period. Face-off won by Grew. Pezzetta sends it down low to Baddock. He couldn't keep it. Now he does get it back. Baddock looks for help. Feeds it in front. A good save. Rebound off the side of the net. That was Chadwick. Shaw moving in. Trying to keep it in. Gonsalves. Here's Stevens, and he clears for Syracuse. Pezzetta back to get it in his own end for the Marlies. Here's Pezzetta. Off on the right wing for Hames. A minute to go on the power play for Toronto. Hames sneaks in and shoots, and he's fought off by Alnefeld. Here's Logan Shaw trying. Easy save. And holding on to that is Alnefeld for Syracuse. 5:14 to go, second period. Scoreless from Syracuse. Here's the draw. One back picked up by the Crunch. Carlisle taken away. That goes into the corner. Lettieri sends it back to the point, and back down the ice it goes. Marlies reset on the power play with just 20 seconds left on it. Sent ahead, it's Lettieri. Here comes Vinny Lettieri. Has a man ahead. It's Logan Shaw going to the net, shooting it. Stopped by Alnefeld. Fed behind the net, back in front. That missed Nylander, and now here go the Crunch. Element. Marlies 0 for 1 on the power play. Element moves in and shoots, and it's stopped by Hildeby. Just got an arm on it. Weird ricochet, finds the Crunch. Morella. Element stopped. Another in the paint. Where is it? Hildeby has it underneath him and covers up for Toronto yet again. So face-off coming here, right side of the net. One back by the Crunch. Here's Carlisle. Sends it in front. Another. That one on Day. Here's another shot. That doesn't go. Oh, my goodness. Dennis Hildeby all night long. Sent in around. Here comes Grew. Kicks it free. That missed Lettieri. Crunch have it. Final minute of period 2. Kripke. Forche blocked. It goes to the corner. It's been a shooting gallery here tonight. Here's Walcott blocked, and now Nylander takes off. 3 seconds to go in the period. Alex Nylander! Stopped by Oldefeld. We're through 2 in Syracuse tonight. Scoreless between the Marlies and the Syracuse Crunch. Shots are goal in the hockey game, 40-8 for the Syracuse Crunch. It is scoreless through 2. Hits are 11-6 Crunch. Faceoffs 10-4 Syracuse. 0 for 6 on the power play. Toronto 0 for 1. We head to the third, no score. Welcome into period 3 from Syracuse tonight. 40 shots on goal, nothing to show. The Syracuse Crunch have dominated all night, but Dennis Hildeby has been where he needed to be all night long for Toronto. Here's Gonsalves moving in, looks and shoots. He's stopped by Hildeby, make that 41. Here's Bo Grew for Toronto, and the Marlies turn up ice with it. Grew has numbers. Here's Grew, shoots, save, rebound. Oldefeld got the leg over. Big save for the Syracuse netminder to keep us at 0. Here's Dumont stepping in, can't get a shot, and now a big hit results in a fight. Grew and Gonsalves drop the gloves, and they go back and forth here from Syracuse. And Grew will get a few in and slow it down, and now he takes down Gonsalves in front of the Syracuse crowd. So Oldefeld making a big save as the Marlies came away with a 2-on-1, and 2 for 2 on that play. He makes the stops. So both teams for fighting. Face off to the left side of the Marley net. Just under 3 into a scoreless third period. Draw one back by the Crunch. Here's Stevens. Centers Myers. That's blocked. Lettieri for the Marlies to Jacob Quill, and he'll get that back into the Syracuse zone. Here's Nylander with it. Nylander, side of the net. Where is it? They look away. And Robert and the Crunch take it the other way. Here goes Robert. Down the left side, Murmas defending. There's the shot, fought off by Hildeby. Down low, they look back in front. Another pass, cut by Benning. He'll send that ahead to Lettieri and back into the Syracuse zone. Round the boards, here's Jacob Quill, and shooting it side of the net easily. Stopped by Oldefeld. The Marlies haven't had much room to shoot tonight. Lettieri to the net. That was handled. Nylander off the back of the goal. Fed it in front, they whack. And side of the net, it's picked up by Oldefeld. Stevens to Element. Here go the Crunch. Fazzetta has to get back. Element centers. There's the shot. It's blocked. Crunch keep it in. Myers. Stevens! That goes wide. What an unload. Morella to Myers. Taken back by Benning. Another shot. Myers to Robert. Stopped by Hildeby. Another. He has that. Marlies Murmas for Fazzetta. Here goes Fazzetta. Michael Fazzetta steps in. Backhander stopped. Now Benning. Dishes back to Murmas. Fires. Broke his stick. Here go the Crunch. Element back to it for Syracuse. Paré took it back for Toronto. Cedric Paré shoots. Stopped by Oldefeld. Torberg. Here's Rafai. That went wide. Bouncing on a broken stick. And back out to Element. Here's Allard. Sent back into the Toronto zone. Villeneuve to collect for the Marlies. Sends it for Fazzetta now. Here goes Fazzetta. Hit at center. Torberg stepping in. Torberg shooting. He's stopped by Oldefeld. And up into the seats it goes with 5:37 to go. What a game here tonight from Syracuse. Dennis Hildeby, the story of this one. Face-off taken, one back, Crunch have it. Day sends it ahead to Edmonds in his own zone, kept in by Marshall Rafai. Now back out is Edmonds. He'll send that back in the Toronto zone. Villeneuve picks that up for Toronto. Here's Villeneuve with it. Villeneuve looking ahead. He'll send that for Easton Cowan. And now taken back by Allard. Chipped right back into the Toronto zone again, Rafai. Here's Marshall Rafai, sent for Mark Johnstone. Carlisle, it's poked ahead by Johnstone, gets in, scores! Oh, what a turn of events! Mark Johnstone never gave up on the play, and Toronto somehow finds a way to take the lead with just 2 minutes to go in a game where they have been dominated on all aspects here from Syracuse tonight. Insane hockey game, and Mark Johnstone just wins this battle and takes off up the middle. He's going to outweight Oldefeld and score a beautiful goal to give Toronto the lead. Here's Robert. He'll shoot. Stopped by Hildeby. Sent ahead for Nylander. Nylander right back into the Syracuse zone. That went wide of the net. and that is going to be icing, and the Crunch will pull the netminder because of it. 47.5 seconds on the game clock. It's been all Syracuse Crunch, but the Toronto Marlies have a 1-0 lead. Face off right side, one back by the Crunch. Carlisle, one-timer blocked. Marlies pick it up, it's Grew. Sends it out and down. And that will be icing yet again with down to now 23.9 on the game clock. So the face-off coming, it'll be to the right side of the Marley net. As we're in the final 25 seconds of play. Draw one, Crunch have it, Carlisle. Kept it in, centers it to Groshev. Off to Day. Down low, the pass finds Marilla. Marilla sends it back to Day. He'll find Carlisle. That one deflects around, but it's blocked by the Marlies in front. Sent ahead for Nylander. Gets that to Rafai. Empty net, he tried to hit it, and it was blocked. Now Grew will try. Off the boards, banks it back in, and that'll do it. What a story from Syracuse tonight, as the Marlies will go celebrate with Dennis Hildeby. He gets the first shutout of the Marley season. 45 of 45 shots stopped here tonight. Insane performance from Dennis Hildeby. All night long, the Marlies were on their heels, and the Syracuse Crunch could not buy a goal. This guy was on his game on all aspects. 3 goals could have been easily scored here tonight for Syracuse, and he absolutely robbed them on all attempts. 45 saves on 45 shots. The Marlies 1 goal on 16 shots. Mark Johnstone with a late dandy to give Toronto the 1-0 win from Syracuse in their first meetup of the season with the Syracuse Crunch. Your final score from Syracuse tonight, the Toronto Marlies 1, the Syracuse Crunch 0.